What's going on, guys? Coach Justin here, founder and CEO of Live 10 Fitness. And in this video, we're going to be talking specifically about the Ignite method and how our metabolic respark has helped hundreds of busy parents, 9-to-5ers, and professionals lose body fat while building muscle in just 3 to 4 hours a week without the crazy workouts and diet restrictions. Okay. So before your call with us, I'm going to be sharing the exact blueprint of how we respark your body's metabolism so that it burns fat as fuel instead of the foods that you eat. So you can still enjoy time with the family instead of starving yourself to lose a few pounds for the rest of your life. And as far as workouts, you can use the gym or basic equipment at your house because you only need about 30 to 40 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week for the exercise. And certainly you can go longer than that, but that's our baseline. Now, by the end of this video, the goal is that you have a baseline of our philosophy. That way we can have a great conversation because there's tons of free courses and PDFs out there. Science is science. So by all means, and no hard feelings if you think you can coach yourself. But if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed with all the conflicting information out there, then you're probably realizing that having a concrete plan specific for you and your situation is what you're going to need. So we'll have a really good conversation if you want to put the ego aside and learn. And again, if you're watching this, you're here because you recognize it's probably time for a change. You've been telling yourself it's time to do something about that extra 15 to 20 to 30 pounds for quite some time. And finally, something's pushing you to take action. And it's not just about losing weight. Okay, you need to learn how to respark your body's metabolism so that it burns body fat. That way you can add healthy muscle tissue, ultimately leading to a healthier and more confident version of you. Because chances are you might struggle with nutrition, macros, calories, what's good for you, what isn't. It can be pretty complex, so we'll simplify it. And perhaps you're unsure of the best exercises that you need to do for your goals. And maybe that's why you've never lifted weights, or maybe it's intimidating. Or maybe you are experienced when it comes to working out, but you're not seeing the results that you want to see, or you just can't stay accountable. Finally, you're probably short on time and you want to maximize your ability to work out instead of spending 2 hours in the gym every day before or after work. We get it. We have 2 toddlers and we want to spend as much time with them as humanly possible. So we know it's important to stay healthy for them. And we've been there before. I used to be in a place where I was carrying a lot of unwanted fat, very slight muscle tone. Okay, no definition. I just felt like I couldn't shake myself into shape. All right. And the worst part was my clothes never fit right. The thought of taking off my shirt in public, dude, forget about it. I avoided pool parties, beach trips, how I looked. It really affected my confidence big time. But I was also confused, like really confused. What should I be eating? How should I be working out? I tried one diet, and then when that didn't work, I switched to another. I jumped from one program to the next, tried bulking, which just made me look like a hippo, then cutting, hoping something would finally click. Everybody's done dirty bulk or, the quick cut, and it works out. So I even got to the point where I started blaming my genetics, convincing myself that I just wasn't meant to have abs. So I knew that I had to figure out a different approach, not just to get the physique that I was after, but to maintain long-term healthy lifestyle for my kids, for my wife, my family. And for Allison, after having our first son, she definitely struggled to find a routine that allowed her to balance it all as a mom, lose her pooch and get back to where she was before kids. And then once we learned the method that we're about to teach you, I lost about 30 pounds of fat while adding 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, and Allison got her abs for the first time. It definitely took some time, okay? But what we learned through that process was the traditional approach is kind of obsolete for busy parents, okay? So running on the treadmill like a hamster hours, putting your body through exhausting workouts and routines, yeah, it can help, but it's definitely outdated. So once we cracked the code, things changed big time. And no doubt about it, we're living and loving our best life ever with the highest energy levels we've ever had, even though our toddlers still wake us up in the middle of the night. But our self-confidence is through the roof. Summer is for sure our favorite season because it's a chance to show off the hard work that we've put in. And we can literally chase our kids around the park all day without feeling exhausted. That's the most important piece. And I would say that we set ourselves up for good habits to be there for our kids as they grow up because we're no longer confused about what works. Like we literally spend 4 hours a week working out while still enjoying the foods that we love. Pizza, carbs, ice cream, 100%. It's part of the family diet. And it's not about deprivation or spending your life in the gym. It's about a balance that's sustainable and living a life that you love. We've helped hundreds of our clients get results doing the same thing we're about to go through, where most of them come to us and their metabolism is all but dead. Okay, not only are they carrying extra weight, but they have low energy levels, experience bloating, their sleep isn't the best. Oftentimes, they have sugar and carbohydrate cravings, and they carry a lot of that extra fat in their belly area. So our Ignite method is going to be designed to respark your metabolism in these 3 different ways. All right, we're going to start with minimum effective volume training, which is essentially how you're able to do shorter workouts that take 3 to 4 hours a week. Nutritional balance through what we call meal-ready planning. And we've simplified the whole count your calories, macros dilemma, and we'll let you eat carbs whenever you like, okay? Lifestyle cardio, that's number 3. Chances are, unless you're a spry 23-year-old, your HIIT workouts are spiking your cortisol. That's your body's hormonal response to stress, and it's stalling out your metabolism. That's the exact reason why your body isn't changing. So you have to think of your physique like a fire that's been smoldering. What we're going to do is throw some fuel on that fire, get it blazing again. All right. It's not about quick fixes or gimmicks. It's about creating an environment where your body naturally burns fat all day long while we spark your metabolism to build the muscle. All right. And it's got to be efficient and effective without the need for exhausting 5 a.m. boot camps and carbless diets. So our first pillar is going to be the strength training protocol. And I'll explain why the traditional approach doesn't work, because we're often taught to lift weights with some kind of gimmicky muscle confusion, crazy workout, versus just focusing on simple exercises and growing those. Okay, we don't need hundreds of routines, just a few basic ones that you can master. Traditional trainers and programs, they don't teach you how to ignite new muscle stimulus. Instead, they sit there and they watch you do 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps, making sure your form is perfect. Okay, you actually need to train in a way that stresses the muscles over time consistently. This ensures that you actually see progress with workouts being 45 minutes or less. So we'll teach you the science of how just really performing 2 really good sets, again, minimum effective training for each exercise is going to help you progress way faster. Lastly, when it comes to strength training, we see folks just kind of go through the motions, and maybe they're straining their back and shoulders while they're training their arms. So we got to teach you how to really focus on the right types of movements so your body connects the dots to actually build and burn fat in the areas that you need it to. Okay. Now we can't strength train for hours on end if our nutrition is not dialed in. All right. And you're really not going to see the results that you're looking for. And this is where most of our clients struggle, because perhaps they have worked with a personal trainer in the past. And the reason they come to us is simple. Like, you could train for 2 hours in the gym every single day. We would never recommend that, but that's less than 10% of your day. And it doesn't focus on your metabolism. You need to learn what to do outside of just working out. And if you're busy, you don't want to rely on somebody else's schedule to time your routine up. So our nutrition protocol is all about the balance, protein being a big building block for that. So it'll help you figure out how much protein you should be targeting based on your lifestyle. And then it needs to be a balance with the carbs and the fats. Carbs are good, okay? We love eating carbs. The traditional approach to the ketos and the carnivores, yeah, they help, but they're not sustainable long term. There's 3 to 4 grams of water in every 1 gram of carbohydrate. So people who do those ketos and carnivores, they have these massive swings, right? And it's a lot of water weight. Your body needs those, okay, for energy. And so we'll teach you how to time the consumption of those nutrients so that you have high energy levels all throughout the day, okay? Then there's daily calorie restrictions, and this is what makes it extremely tough to sustain. So instead, we'll help you use a ticketing system throughout the week with a meal framework, so you're not constantly worrying about macros and calories and all that complex nutrition jargon. Instead, you have flexibility throughout your busy schedule. And certainly everybody's schedule is different, so we'll walk through all the details to ensure our protocol really would gel and be curated towards what you need. Now, our third pillar involves what we refer to as lifestyle cardio, because if you're still trying to lose weight by showing up to those crazy boot camps in the morning, you're definitely doing it wrong, because every one of those HIIT classes soars your heart rate way past the fat burning stage. So your body has to cannibalize itself for fuel. So instead, we help you incorporate steady state movements that aren't so taxing on the body. And we don't have to live and die by the 10,000 step rule. Okay, we'll implement a ticketing system just like we do with the nutrition. And it's got to be part of daily life. The last thing we teach our clients is to run 4 to 5 times a week and sweat your brains out after a long day. Okay, you can get the same results working smarter instead of harder. Now, the fourth pillar, and honestly, this is the one that makes the other 3 stick, is the mindset coaching and community. But here's the truth. Most people who start and stop, yo-yo, fall off the wagon, isn't because they can't do the workout so they don't understand the nutrition. It's because they're playing an all or nothing game. You know the drill. You're on track for a week or 2, but then you miss a workout, life gets busy, kids get sick, you have a big meal out, and suddenly you feel like you blew it. So you start over next Monday, and that goes on repeat until Monday never comes again. So what we teach instead is the 1% rule. The idea that the only thing you have to focus on is being better than you were yesterday. It's about progress over perfection, because when you're surrounded by a like-minded community that's showing up every week, encouraging you and sharing their wins and struggles, you stop aiming for perfect and you start aiming for better. And we coach you on shifting your focus from measuring the gap, everything you still have left to do, to celebrating the gain, how far you've already come. So when you combine that mindset with real human accountability, other parents, professionals, busy people just like you, are walking on the same path, the game changes. So you stop quitting after a bad day, because now you've got people in your corner saying, hey, shake it off. You're still moving forward. We leverage that community connection on a daily and weekly basis to help push you, keep you encouraged, and celebrate your wins. Because going at it alone is hard enough, but winning together makes the process a lot easier. So let's talk about why this approach works so well when so many others fail. It's all about leverage, using the right tools, strategies to maximize your results. And I want you to think of it like this, okay? If you're building a house, would you just start throwing bricks together without a blueprint? Of course not. You'd want a solid plan, the right materials, somebody experienced to guide you through the process. Yet so many people approach their fitness journey with this trial and error mindset. Or, oh, I know what to do, I just need to do it. Okay, well, you try one diet, you fail, or you see some progress, you're on the wagon for a week, and then you fall off. You go from one program to the next, never sticking with anything long enough. It's like trying to build a house with a hammer when you need a full toolkit. So the Live 10 Ignite method gives you that toolkit. It's a proven roadmap that's been used successfully time and time again. You're not just getting a workout or diet plan. We're helping you build and become a 2.0 version of yourself with a comprehensive system designed to target the real problem that most people skip talking about, your metabolism. As a busy parent, that's key. If you are a fit to work with us, you'll have daily access feedback, a community to support you, a program to follow, knowing exactly what to do specifically for you. Okay, so you don't have to keep throwing darts with your eyes closed to reach your target. Now, I want to show you something that most people never really think about when they're deciding, whether or not to finally take action on their health. And that's really the cost of, doing something and doing nothing, because the truth is there's always a cost. All right, if you hire a personal trainer, you easily spend in 60 to 90 bucks a session, 2 to 3 times a week. Throw in a nutritionist, a dietitian to help with meals, that's 200 bucks a month. Sprinkle in a mindset coach, easily 400 bucks, and you're already at 20 grand for the year. And that's before you even factor in all the time and all the energy and all the money eating out. Easily another 10K a year. Now, our program costs nowhere near 10 to 20,000, okay? But let's be clear, somebody who approaches their health like a clearance rack purchase, there's a bigger cost down the road. And chances are, if you go look at your credit card statements, I challenge you to do so, you already have the budget. It's just going to fast food, coffee shops, and weekend drinks. So the real question is, do you want to keep investing towards your health with habits to take from you, or invest in ones that give you an ROI daily? And here's that bigger cost, the hidden one, okay? When you don't take action and you stay even just 20 pounds overweight, you eventually take on a risk. And that risk is prescription medication, unnecessary doctor visits, physical therapy, rehab, mobility aids, higher life insurance rates. And in the worst cases, assisted living, hospitalization, or major medical bills from, honestly, preventable conditions like diabetes, heart disease, liver issues. Because it never stops at 15, 20, 30 pounds, okay? You just adjust to the new normal until consequences come barreling down. So you've got to choose your heart. You pay the price now or you're paying it later, okay? Because ultimately, if we know our fitness goals, it's not just putting off a workout, we're putting off our future, okay? The cost of living an unhealthy lifestyle, it adds up. It really does. And so our mindset was, if we had to trade a few early mornings, all right, take some time to prepare, we could carve out 3 hours a week. Everybody has the same amount of 24 hours a day. Everybody's busy, but the payoff would be worth it. And we're not here to convince you to spend money that you don't have. Our goal is to help you save time that you haven't spent, because you're going to have to figure it out in order to get to where you want to go. In reality, you're buying these lessons either way. So if your health isn't where it needs to be right now, that means you're already paying for it with time. So the question is, what's more valuable to you? And is that how you still want to go about it? Because you can invest with time or money, but only one of them you can ever get back. So for us, it was always having the energy to play with our kids without being winded 10 minutes after getting to the park, the confidence to walk into any room and own it, the peace of mind knowing that we were doing everything we could do to live a long, healthy life. And once we found out it worked for us, we realized it could work for anybody. And yeah, there's a lot of custom variances, as not every person is the same, which is why we have having a coach is so important for that process. So anything short of a zombie apocalypse, show up for your book time. We get dozens of applications every week, and we have to limit our spot. So if you miss your time or have to reschedule, we get it, life happens, but we can't always guarantee future openings. So be on time. How you do anything is how you do everything. These calls work best on a Zoom video, so that way we can share our screen, share your apps, our recipes, our workout routines, right? We build those out for each client. So that link should be in your email. Let us know if you don't see that. And then here's your last piece of homework, okay? I want you to take a selfie in the mirror, okay? Write yourself a short and honest note about why you're ready to make these changes. Take your shirt off too, right? Be real, hop in a bathing suit. Be real with your situation. Alice and I have both been there before. And from that moment, we said never again. And most people kind of know why, but knowing it in your head and writing it down are two completely different things. If you want the fastest sustainable path, that's the key, sustainable path to your goals. It's not about figuring it out on your own. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people in a community and coaches who are going to push you, guide you, and keep you accountable, even on the days you don't feel like showing up. So write it down, get clear, come ready to be open and transparent on the call so we can figure out if things will be a fit. Cheers.